Hey nerds, and welcome to CW's Flash, Theories, and Conspiracies. I'm your host Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd. So this week was a pretty straightforward episode. We had more introduction of Hawkgirl for Legends of Tomorrow, which will be part of the two-parter crossover between Arrow and Flash in a couple weeks. But we also had Barry dealing a lot with having Earth 2's Harrison Wells around. If you didn't notice, he was sitting in Earth 1 Harrison Wells' wheelchair throughout the entire episode. But then he also had that pretty aggressive attack on Harry when he saw him in the Reverse Flash costume. So he's still got some issues he's probably not willing to admit that he has. But the big stuff for this week was with Grodd and Gorilla City. It was great to have Grodd back on the show. He's a fantastic character. So I thought, since we didn't really get too deep into him last time he was on the show, we'll talk about him a little more and about Gorilla City, which is what we saw at the very end. So first off, Grodd, what was he doing? The chemical he was stealing, the cortexin, this actually is in the comics. There is a comic called Kamandi, and it's about a boy who wakes up, in one of these apocalypse vaults, and the future world is all talking animals. And it traces back to a scientist who was experimenting with animals, and he was using this chemical cortoxin. So that actually does fit with what's in the comics. All of that is explained in Kamandi number 16, if you are interested in checking that out. Next, Gorilla City. Gorilla City obviously is from the comics. If you're familiar with the Justice League, the Bruce Timm's Justice League, it played a big role. Grodd was in it multiple times, and they went to Gorilla City and helped save it. What we're seeing here looks like an early stage Gorilla City, because in the comics and in the Justice League, it's presented as a very advanced, kind of almost futuristic society. But Gorilla City also is from the comics. The first time it appears in The Flash is in number 106, but it actually appears before that in a comic called Congo Bill, which is basically about a white explorer in the jungle. He's there to explore the jungle, and one of the things he's looking for is a magic ring that will allow him to transfer his consciousness into that of a mystic golden ape. And when he does that, obviously his body is unprotected, and like all these things go, you can imagine his body was killed while he was still in the ape. So that's how he became one of the talking apes of Gorilla City. But yeah, a pretty strange way for that to come about, but that did lead for that character to go off to help the Justice League on many occasions and things like that. But the title of this episode, Guerrilla Warfare, that's actually a reference to a story arc in the Flash's New 52. So that's volume 3 of the Flash. But in this one, Gorilla Grodd comes and basically wants to take over Central City, and he has an army of apes along with him. At this point, he is king of Central City and apparently has tapped into the Speed Force. So in order to defeat Grodd, Flash actually has to enlist the Rogues, something he has tried on the show. And we know he actually will be enlisting them to help with the Legends of Tomorrow. So a lot of cool backstory there. It would be really great to see Gorilla City in the future. Maybe since with that ominous ending, Grodd goes in, takes over, and they come and ask Barry for help. Hard to say what's going to happen, but it would be great to see more of that. What do you guys think? Are you ready for the Legends of Tomorrow kickoff two-parter thing? I think it's going to be a fun show, and I can't wait to see it. But we are going to have to wait because there is no Flash next week. So check out the past episodes. Check out past episodes of my Theories and Conspiracies. And if you are watching Supergirl or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I've got episodes up for those as well. So check all that out. Don't forget to subscribe and leave comments down below. And until next episode, this has been Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd, and this has been CW's Flash, Theories and Conspiracies.